What's up everybody, ArrgThePirate here, and today we're going to play a little Loki in the jungle. Now, I'm absolutely terrible with him, but let's give him a shot. Now, how I'm going to build him is Purification Beads, Chalice of Healing, Warrior Tabby, or just Boots, and Assassin's Blessing for that first 1500 gold. Then, I'm going to build into Warrior Tabby, Poison Star, Wind Demon, Mollusk, Deathbringer, Quinn Size, and then I've got Potion of Physical Might and Elixir of Power. It's pretty much the same build that I did on Cupid yesterday, but it works pretty well, and, you know, hey, let's give it a shot on a jungler. Now, I start out picking up that speed buff. Guys, that's the jungle's buff. That's what you want to pick up early on, and I do have auto-assigned abilities, so it got my Invis first. Guys, if you want to play Loki in the jungle, start with your 2 first, because you can use that 2 and it will take aggro off of you. That allows you to get those back hits which do more damage, as well as not take so much damage. And you can see I've already used 3 chalices, and all I've done is cleared 3 camps. I'm going to end up having to back. I can't help my team out or anything. All I did was down that last camp, and feels bad. So definitely start out with your 2. Now, let's briefly go over his abilities. Number 1 is Vanish, and it's that simple. You vanish, you move a little bit faster, you take 25% reduced damage, and your next basic attack applies a bleed to the target. Your number 2 is Decoy. Loki spawns a decoy version of himself that taunts all nearby minions. This includes jungle minions, guys, and once it expires, it explodes and deals additional damage. Number 3 is Aimed Strike. Upon activation, Loki's next basic attack does additional damage within a short time, and the enemy is also slowed. Lastly, or his last ability, is Assassinate, or his ultimate, and Loki teleports to his ground target location. If the enemy god is within the radius, Loki will backstab the target, dealing damage and stunning them. His passive is Loki deals more damage from his basic attacks when hitting enemies from behind. So it's really best to get behind those enemies and, you know, deal damage to their backs. And that's one way you can use that number 2 on those jungle camps. You get a couple of seconds of dealing damage in the back, and you can really wipe out those jungle camps quickly. Now, Loki is definitely a later game hero. He doesn't really do a whole lot in those early stages. You know, you might be able to get lucky and get a gank. And if you saw earlier, you know, we went in, got a couple of kills. But I would definitely not recommend, you know, facing off against somebody, because they will take you out. And if you see here, guys, I'm using my number 2 to get those jungle camps to turn around, and I'm doing damage to their backs. That's exactly what you want to do. I would highly recommend working on or picking up number 2 first, and that will just really help with your jungle clear. You know, 3, getting that, you know, bonus damage is nice, but really avoiding that damage is absolutely huge, because Loki doesn't have just a whole lot of health, and, you know, not just a ton of sustain either. You can also use your number 2 when you are engaging with enemies. So if you're in lane or something like that and going for a gank, you can throw that number 2 down to avoid a lot of that minion damage. If the enemies have, you know, just a ton of minions up, boom, throw that 2 down. You can avoid all of that damage, and hey, it makes it much easier. Like I do right here, you know, I was going in on their ADC, threw that clone down or that taunt down to where those minions just completely ignored me, let me chase a little bit. Even though we don't get a kill, you know, we avoided a lot of unnecessary damage. Now, as the jungler, rotating is absolutely huge. You know, you want to keep your jungle farmed as well as you can, but anytime you see a fight breaking out, you want to be there to crank out that damage to help kill those people. You know, you see we got our 2nd kill there, and, you know, that's huge, guys. Being able to take those enemies out and, you know, help your team really. But pushing towers is definitely not the main thing you want to do. Me and our mid laner decided, hey, let's go ahead, let's head into this tower. We should be able to take it out. Thanatos shows up, and you see I instantly dip out. I do have speed buff, so I should be able to outrun him. But since I'm out of mana, I don't have my Vanish, and I just didn't want to risk, you know, him being able to ult me. So we end up taking out that mid lane because, you know, we down their mid laner, and we had a little vision on the enemy. So that was a decent call to take that tower out. But really, getting those kills, rotating for those team fights, that's absolutely huge, and that's what you want to do as the jungler. A lot in the same way as Paragon. You're the handyman of the match. Anywhere that needs some attention, if a lane needs help, go over there. If a fight needs help, go over there. You're the handyman. Make sure that you're doing everything you can. Now, this Soul, she ends up, I don't know, she immuned our ultimate, which feels bad, but hey, we ended up forcing her out, and we saved that tower, so, it was okay. It wasn't a complete wasted ult. It'd have been nice to hit her, though. But, hey, no problem. Let's get back in the jungle. Let's go grab our speed buff, get our damage camps. Now, guys, as the jungler, picking up that speed buff is huge. I'm still kind of getting used to picking up those buffs in Smite, but as the jungler, every time that speed buff is up, you should have it. The only time it's up is either you just got back to base or you died. That should be the only time that buff is just ever sitting there. And you can see, as soon as it shows up, we're going to take it out. We get our buff, and then we're going to start rotating. And the buff will spawn in around the same time that it actually goes off of you. So you've got about 2 minutes to run around and then go back and pick that buff up again. Now, Thanatos is pretty low, and I just kind of want to see what I can do, and I end up not even hitting him. I almost go down here. Oh, feels bad. Soul is chasing me, but we're just kind of dipping out, and once we get our Vanish, hopefully we can get out of this situation. You see, we're running around corners so we can keep that line of sight, up. We want to just keep that LOS up, and sure enough, we're able to get out. That was a very dumb dive. Just kind of wanted to see what I could do at this point, and not a lot, guys. Not a lot at all. Now, once I get back to base, get healthy again, I'm going to start heading down lane. There is something going down mid lane, so I'm going to head over there. I end up getting my ult off on that whatever chick. We actually end up taking her out, so that's absolutely huge. I don't know, trading for that might not have been really worth it, but with my two teammates there, we've got both of our casters there. I'm thinking maybe they can keep a lot of pressure up, and it might even be able to take a tower down. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I probably should not have dove that. This is my very first Conquest game with Loki, so, I'm trying things out, seeing what I can do, and, guys, I highly recommend that. If you want to get into a hero, pick them up and go do stupid stuff with them. That way you can figure out your limits. If you never push those limits, you'll never figure out exactly what you can do. Now, I am here in mid lane, and, there is some enemy presence. I don't want to really deal with Thanatos. I think he could take me, but I end up going in behind Chinese Princess Lady, and we do a little poke on her, but she ends up getting out, and hey, no problem. We're going to go kind of clean up some jungles, pick up our yellow buff again, and then we're going to head to our solo lane. Our solo lane is being pushed right now, so we need to show up there, see what we can, actually make happen. Princess Lady and Soul are both here, so, we gotta avoid them. And both of them being ranged mages, they can absolutely take me on. I'm really hoping that we have some rotation over here from the team. That would be absolutely huge. I'm not gonna be able to stop this. And you see, Soul hurts, guys. Casters definitely hurt against assassins, and, I think as an assassin, your job is to take out those casters and ADCs when they get out of position, but you can't, if they're face-to-face, they're going to win that fight unless you have a way to catch up to them and really do some burst damage, which Loki does have that, but them having two casters there, that's just a bad situation. Now, we're going to get this lane pushing in the right direction. Our ADC actually headed over here, and she's going to get that lane pushing, but, Floaty Shield Girl's over here as well. So, I'm going to let them push that lane. I'm going to head to the jungle. Let's see if we can make something happen elsewhere. And then I kind of see, hey, not a whole lot's going on. Anubis starts going in on the Pyromancer. So, hey, let's take that out. And, with Anubis having just an insane amount of lifesteal. He's got crazy lifesteal, guys. And he's able to tank that Pyromancer. We actually head over to this solo lane, and Thanatos is here. Guys, look at the damage. Oh, we absolutely delete him. Soul ends up getting out, and we just stepped right into tower, and we, I don't know, that fire bomb stuff she was hitting me with. We should have got out. If I could ever remember to use trinkets, you know, or relics, I might have survived that, but feels bad, man. But we took out Thanatos again, which, you know, he's my nemesis. Now, we're slowly coming online. I feel that I have had 3 deaths, which 4 kills, 3 deaths. I definitely feel like I'm a lot better with other junglers, and that's one reason I just haven't played Loki all that much. I just, even in arena, guys, I'm just absolutely terrible with him. He just doesn't really fit my playstyle as much. You know, he's really about being patient, picking your time to go in and attack. Like you see here, you know, we kind of butchered this, but we end up taking out Thanatos, and then, you know, hey, I'm about to get deleted. You know, it's go in, do your damage, get out, and that's never really been the type of playstyle I like. I like having that sustain where, with the damage that I'm doing, I'm getting tons and tons of heals, which, you know, I could throw on some lifesteal stuff, which I will probably try that out the next time I play Loki. But as of right now, you know, I don't know. I've really enjoyed the jungle, but as far as I'm concerned, Loki's not quite my favorite hero. That really being patient, buying your time, that's just not me, guys. I like getting in people's faces. So. Now, we end up pushing this solo lane and, you know, getting it. We just shove that lane. You know, I want to shove the lane and then rotate. Really, Smite, guys, it's not like Paragon. I know I've said this several times, but it's really more about fighting. You know, go get your fights, you know, set your lane, or just, you know, make it where it will push. You don't even have to set it very well. Just get it where it's pushing in the right direction, and then rotate and help your team. That's what Smite turns into. There's really a distinct laning phase, and then it turns into much more of a team fight phase. And you can see here, my team all collapses. Boom, we get a great double kill there, and having 3 enemies down, you can see we're able to take out this tower. You know, that's absolutely huge. And if you were really in that laning phase, you wouldn't be able to do this. And since the map is so much bigger than Monolith, you know, really rotating is more of a preemptive thing. You can't see a fight and then rotate to it. You have to rotate before the fight happens. And, you know, kind of learning that mindset is definitely going to take a little bit, but I highly recommend trying to get in the mood of that. Now, after we took down that T2 there in mid, you know, hey, it's Fire Giant time, guys. And I'm trying to get hits on his back. I guess you just can't do that because I don't know if I am here or not. I can see the damage above his head, but I can't tell if that's the back damage or if that's just crits hitting or not, but I tried. We end up picking up Fire Giant. Oh, feels great. And if you see, hey, we got our Objective Hunter, which Objective Hunter is the achievement you get when you get the final hit on both the Fire Giant and the Gold Fury in the same match. So, hey, you know, those achievements are absolutely awesome, guys. I really enjoy, you know, like, hey, you did something awesome, here you go. You know, it's nothing fancy. It's just, hey, here's a little trinket for doing it. It feels awesome. You know, guys, I'm having an absolute blast with Smite. Smite is definitely a very, very fun game. And if you're on the fence about trying it, you know, if you're still playing Paragon, guys, just download it. It's free. Try it out once. Come play with me. I'd love to play with y'all. Now, being here in mid, you know, you see there's a pretty big team presence, you know, both our team and their team, but they end up backing off, and hey, that's great. I'm actually going to head to our duo lane, you know, Soul's here, and boom, we end up getting that ult through that wall. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, man. I love that you can, you know, kind of blink through areas. That's awesome. We end up using our clone to tank the tower, which you can do that as well, guys. You can use Loki's little vanish clone, whatever, decoy. You can use that decoy to actually tank towers. So, you know, if you just want to finish it off real quick, like I did there, you can do that. Yeah, it works absolutely amazingly. From here, we end up shoving this mid lane as well. You know, we've got a split push going, you know, which is absolutely awesome. Hopefully we can get both these Phoenixes, and, you know, hey, that might be GG at this point. I'm going to keep on this tower. You see, I use that decoy again, tank those tower hits, and we're able to get this mid Phoenix. You know, that's great. Then we end up rotating over to this other Phoenix. We end up taking it out as well. You know, this is awesome, guys. You know, great teamwork. You know, I am in a solo match, but, you know, we're working very well as a team. This is great. My team ends up staying in, so, you know, I was going to back off at this point, but since my team's all staying in, you know, hey, let's help. And sure enough, you know, I'm going to go ahead and just take these minions out, get my minions in that Titans area, you know, that way we can get, you know, just, you want minions into the Titan, so someone's not tanking the Titan. And I'm kind of just waiting around buying my time, and this is really what I was talking about, Loki. You have to pick the time and place to go in. You can't just walk in there, because if you walk in there, you're going to get deleted, especially if they have ranged heroes. And, you know, being under their Titan or core, whatever you want to call it, being under their, you know, final objective, it is very tough for me to actually go in, because, you know, if I do hit somebody, I'm going to tank the Titan. You know, if the Titan hits me once or twice, I might be dead. And then, you know, the enemies are right there. Boom, I'm probably going to die as well. So instead of just sticking around there, not doing anything, I'm going to go ahead and back. I end up throwing on, you know, a power item, you know, get some of that crit up. And I'm actually going to split push the solo lane. And, hey, if my team can finish off the match, that's great, but if they end up all dying, you know, hey, at least we've got one of the lanes pushing against, or, you know, the only lane that is not free to push. At least it's pushing in the right direction. Who knows, I might be able to get all the way up and take down their Phoenix. And, hey, you know, if we got all three Phoenixes down and still had our Fire Giant buff, you know, hey, it's going to be GG. Well, while I end up split pushing, my team's actually able to secure this victory. You know, they did a great job. We had some great teamwork. We end up being 6-3-3. You know, we weren't there to take down the Titan, but that's quite all right. You know, I feel having a split push while my team's keeping that pressure up you know, that's just as good. We're still playing that objective game, and hey, we end up securing the victory regardless. Feels awesome. And hey, I gotta say, I felt like I had a pretty solid impact in this match. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this Loki guide. He's a lot of fun to play, but he does take a little bit of patience and kind of just learning his kit. But if y'all did enjoy, show me some love, leave me a comment, think about subscribing, add me on Smite, guys. I'd love to play with y'all. And as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.